Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it is a continuation of a story that was sent to me by our dear sister, who was saying that she dated a man who used to do a lot of rituals. This man was from Botswana. So the message reads like this. After spending many weeks with that man, each and every night, it was the same thing. Each and every night, when we would go to bed, I would beg for sex, whilst he would refuse to touch me. I really felt like I was going crazy, and I am pretty sure that ladies out there, you know that kind of a feeling that you will be sharing a bed each and every night with a man, and that man, whenever you will be going to bed, he would ask you and tell you not to wear any clothes. So you would think that maybe tonight is the night, but once you are in the bedroom, you would start to act as if you are not in love. You will refuse to touch you. And that kind of a situation can actually make you to go insane. With all of the way that he used to refuse to sleep with me, I would spend so many hours struggling to sleep. So sometimes I would go to the kitchen feeling so bored because he never even allowed me to go outside. He would tell me that I was still so young, and he was afraid that maybe other young boys out there were going to propose love to me. So with boredom in the middle of the night, I would find myself walking to the kitchen so that I can just get some ice cream or anything to eat, because he was that kind of a man that knew how to treat a woman good financially. But when I would be walking there to the kitchen, I used to hear a lot of things. Those things that I used to hear, they will be making a lot of sounds, but these things, it was as if they will be walking in the ceiling. This thing would happen each and every night, but I would just ignore it, and I would think that maybe there were rats or maybe a cat or something like that. During the day, when my boyfriend would be at work, I would hear as if there will be someone who will be cooking in the kitchen. Let's say if I'll be in the sitting room just watching TV, then I would hear that there will be someone who will be acting as if they will be cooking in the kitchen. I would even hear that there will be someone who will be chopping up some vegetables on the kitchen table. But when I would go to the kitchen to see what was going on, the sound would stop. And this sound, you would feel it actually in your body, as if someone will be busy following me around. Whenever I would feel this thing that will be following me around, I would just speak with my mom. The reason why I was afraid to tell my boyfriend, it was because I was afraid that if I tell him that I am hearing all of these sounds, as if in the kitchen when you are at work there is a woman who comes into the kitchen, then she will start to cook. I was afraid that maybe my boyfriend would think that I am a witch, or maybe he would just start to avoid me, and in the end he would chase me away. I didn't want to lose this relationship, because ever since I had came to Botswana, I had suffered a lot, and now I felt as if God had finally answered my prayer. So I kept on speaking with my mother about the situation that I was facing. When I had spoken with my mother about these strange events, my mother then told me that it was actually our neighbor who was causing all of these things. My mother told me that she had gone and consulted with this other prophet who had told my mother that our neighbor was jealous of us because finally we had found our breakthrough in life. That house, it had a balcony. So my mom, she would go and show her friends my pictures because she was really happy. My brother, when I was still in Zim, we were suffering under the yoke of poverty. So this was like a breakthrough for my mom to realize that her own daughter was now staying in such a big house. So when my mother had gone to consult with that prophet, she was then told that it was our neighbor who was sending her tokoloshes to me so that they can eventually make my boyfriend to hate me, because our neighbor, she was jealous of us because finally we had found our breakthrough in life. Because this man, my brother, Indeed, he really loved my family. I was even surprised to learn that even the day that I moved in with him, the very next morning, he secretly started talking to my mom. Then he started sending my mom a lot of money. He used to take care of my family, which was back home in Zim. So my mother told me that her jealousy neighbors had heard the news that I was now staying with a man who wanted to marry me. So my mother, with the prophecy that had been given to her, she was now suspicious of our neighbors because they used to enjoy it whenever we would go to their house asking for food when we were suffering. This is what kept me in this relationship, because my mother kept on strengthening me. She told me that for my sake, please do not get out of that relationship, because if you say that you do not love that man anymore, then people are going to laugh at me. Whenever I would go to complain to my mom, she would say, please, for my sake, just try to be strong. Each and every marriage that is out there, my daughter, let me tell you that there is a problem in each and every marriage, but as a woman, you need to be strong. I suffered my brother for many years because my mother was afraid that her neighbors were going to laugh at her. Then the day that he agreed, my boyfriend, that we must have intercourse, it was one night when we were fast asleep. So it was my boyfriend's rule that he used to sleep on the other side of the bed, right next to the window. Even though the whole house, it had air conditioners that were installed, one night he had came to bed very late because he had some work stuff to finish off. So by the time that he came to bed, him not wanting to touch me, knowing that if he would touch me and if I would wake up, I would not let him sleep because I'll keep on bothering him. I'll be asking him all night the question as to why he was always avoiding having intercourse with me, because we had done all the tests that he had asked me to do. Him fearing to wake me up, he then silently got into bed without waking me up. When it was around 1 a.m., I think that is when I had a very strange dream. And in my dream, I saw my boyfriend. He was there in my dream and he was having intercourse with this very strange creature that looked nothing like a human being, but its body, it resembled the body of that of a woman. It had breasts and everything, just like a woman. Its height, when it was standing up, it could reach up to my knees, and it had very strange arms that were deformed, and in the place of its fingers, there were very long nails that were connected almost to its shoulders. And this creature, it had only one leg, and just underneath its belly, that is where its genitals were, like the private parts. This creature had a face that was so ugly and deformed. Its eyes were on top of its head, and the mouth was just underneath its chin, just close to the neck. That is where its mouth was. This creature, the way that it walked was by holding the walls and moving its body on the floor as if it was a worm or a snake. As it moved on the floor, I saw that it left some liquid stuff behind. That liquid stuff, it was so sticky. That creature then entered into our bedroom and started talking to my boyfriend, but I could not hear anything because when that creature entered into the bedroom, I felt as if there was someone who had came and closed up my ears so that they stopped working. I could only hear distant echoes like people were speaking in a mountain. My husband then got off from the bed and lifted that creature and started making love to that creature. So when I saw that whole scenario, it really scared me. I then screamed, and when I screamed, I then woke up and I saw that I was just dreaming. This was just a dream. I was really scared. I then sent my mom a message so that she can go back to that prophet. I was really scared that if I tell my boyfriend that this is what I had been dreaming about, he was going to say that I am a witch, and I didn't want to lose this relationship because I had invested so much. It was really difficult for me to go back on the street. When I woke up, I found out that my boyfriend, he was not in bed with me. So I really felt scared because in the house, there was this other safe which he had showed me. even though he had not given me the password to that safe, but he only showed me that inside that safe there was a lot of money. And that money that he had showed me, which was inside the safe, he said that it was for my bride price. So I thought that maybe thieves had entered into our home, kidnapped my boyfriend, and robbed us of all of our money. So I rushed out of bed screaming, only to hear my boyfriend responding to my scream whilst he was in another room. He was in his study room. So I went there because I was really scared. I just knocked on the door, then I entered into his study room. He had told me that if he was in his study room, I should not bother him a lot because he was a man who really enjoyed reading his books. He told me that if me and him were to have an argument or anything, if I found out that he would have locked himself in his study room, I was not supposed to bother him because unlike other men, he doesn't go and drink some beer or go out and have fun with other women. He would be in his study room. But on that night, I was really scared. So after knocking the door and I didn't wait for any response, I then just rushed into the study room. When I went in there, I found out that my boyfriend was with another woman. So I was really angry because I thought that this was his other girlfriend. I was so angry at him. And before I could shout at him, my boyfriend, I saw that he was irritated by the way that I had screamed and running around the house. He then told me that this was his mother. It was not his girlfriend. After the introductions, he then bid farewell to her mother. We didn't even say hello to me. And me and my boyfriend, we went back to bed. That is when he started touching me as if he felt guilty. He then slept with me, but after he had successfully slept with me, it took me several days for me to get used to him, because after sleeping with him, I would feel a kind of an itchiness down there inside my private parts, like what happens if you take something like methylated spirit, and if you rub methylated spirit on a place where you would have a wound, you will feel that kind of an itchiness that will be very painful. That is what I used to feel whenever my boyfriend would have slept with me. After sleeping with me, he then slept, but I couldn't fall asleep because I kept having a lot of nightmares. The next morning, before I could even wake up, I found myself alone again. My boyfriend had left a note on this other fridge that he used to leave some notes for me so that I can prepare the kind of a meal that he wanted on that day. But on this day, my brother, he had not written in English. The note that he had left stuck on the fridge, it was written in Setswana, so I could not read Setswana. After struggling to read the note, I then decided to go next door so that I can ask for help with reading of the note. And I was told that the note was saying that my boyfriend had traveled with his mother back to the village. This really stressed me out because I felt that my future mother-in-law had suddenly rejected me because she had came to our house and she had never spoken with me. And she had decided to leave so early in the morning without ever speaking with me. My brother, when I returned back home feeling so sad, I then told myself that let me start cleaning the house, because this is the kind of a woman that I am. Whenever I feel depressed in a relationship that I'll be involved in, I would rather just do my chores in the house so that I cannot shout at my men. I'll just use all of my anger to clean the house. So after cleaning the house, when I was exhausted, I then sat down, and as I was watching TV, I still remember that it was a gospel show that I was watching. There was this other pastor that was preaching on TV. He was preaching in Setswana, and when he spoke in English, I only heard him saying, "Touch the TV right now." And after I had touched that TV, I don't know what happened exactly after I had placed my hand on the TV. After doing that, I felt as if something had fallen from out of the ceiling, and I then just collapsed to the floor. I think that I fainted. This was around 10 a.m. When I woke up, it was exactly 2:30 p.m. Hunger is what woke me up. When I woke up, I took my phone so that I could tell my mother what had happened to me and also tell my boyfriend what had happened to me. And when I opened my phone, I saw that there was a lot of missed calls from my boyfriend. It was about 36 missed calls when he called me again. I picked up the phone and then he said, "You are pregnant. I am coming back." When he told me that I was pregnant, this really confused me because this was less than 48 hours after we had slept together for the first time. So why was he saying that I had fallen pregnant for him? How could he had known that I had fallen pregnant for him? Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that I received. Strange things do happen in this world.